Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to bringing you the vision video. What up, guys? Today is something a little bit different. Today I wanted to make a video showing you guys the real way to mod your weapons and pretty much what to roll on your weapons in patch 1.8. I do understand if you have been playing the game for a long time and you just play the game on a daily basis, you will know what to roll on your weapons and what mods to have and stuff like that. It's kind of common sense if you play the game for a long time, but if you are new or if you are coming back from like a 5, 6, 7 month break, from the game, and you want to test out patch 1.8, stuff like that, I wanted to make this video so you can kind of use it as a referral guide and, just get a general idea of what to roll on your weapons. So, if you guys do enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more videos, and let's get right into this. So, starting off, I'm going to show you guys what I rolled on it. So, what I have is Deadly and Unforgiving. Now, the first thing I do want to say, hands down, this is not a god roll. This is not my ideal house. My ideal house and my ideal SMG would be something with like Deadly, Vicious, and maybe Responsive or Unforgiving. For the house, you guys want to use something like Deadly, Responsive, or Vicious, Deadly, or Vicious and Responsive, something like that. Something along those lines, combination will be very, very good for the house. But as I said, for me and my personal use and just how I like my house being Deadly and Vicious is what I would like to have on it. Now, like I said, for an MP7, something like Vicious, Unforgiving, Deadly, Responsive would be very, very good to roll on your talents in this patch. So that's pretty much it for the talent portion of the weapon. As I said, those talents is what you want to be rolling on your SMGs. Now, getting to the mods, this is where it gets kind of complicated for some of you guys, and this is something that it's kind of simple to understand once you play the game 24/7 and just play the game a lot. But anyways, for the magazine, what I would recommend using is either 1, magazine size, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. Especially on SMGs, critical hit chance, critical hit damage is really important. You want to stack as much into it. But another thing I would recommend using is something like this: magazine size, critical hit chance, rate of fire, or you can find a critical hit damage, magazine size, and rate of fire magazine. Those 3 ones are the best ones, hands down. As I said, for me and my personal SMG mods, I like using critical hit damage and critical hit chance, not rate of fire on the SMGs. I don't know why, I'm not sure if it makes a huge difference or not, but critical hit chance and critical hit damage is what you want to use. For the underbarrel, you guys want to go hands down with critical hit damage, reload speed, and stability. Although the reload speed and stability is not really, a big portion of this, it is still something, and it is still something you guys can kind of notice it, when you are using it, and in my opinion, there's really nothing else you should be using on a grip except critical hit damage, stability, and reload speed. For the muzzle brake, once again, this is something that you guys can kind of experiment with and see what you like on your weapon. With my house and my SMGs, I like going with critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and headshot damage. You guys can honestly go with something like this: critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and headshot damage. As you guys can see, this is the tri-rand suppressor, and if you're going for a lot of crit chance, obviously this would be a little bit better. But with my build and how my build is kind of oriented around, it's pretty much all into skill haze, or not skill haze, critical hit chance. So I already have a lot of critical hit chance. I'm sitting at like 52-53% critical hit chance. So for me to use this is not really worth it. I like using something like critical hit damage just so I can do that more, damage, and I can pretty much kill anyone I see in my eyes way faster. Lastly, for the scope, I am invested into the same thing as I was on the muzzle brake, and that is critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and headshot damage. Once again, you guys can go with a different route and use something a little bit different, and that is critical hit chance, headshot damage, and stability on your scope. But in my opinion, losing out on the 18% critical hit damage is a big deal, and something with SMGs, you're obviously going to have a lot of crit chance, and even in this meta with 1.8 being really just stamina and firearms dependent, and you can't really roll too much skill power or skill haze because it's going to be kind of useless. So having something like critical hit chance on your mask, on your gloves, and also on your holster will give you that extra critical hit chance. It's going to give you additional like 14% or something like that. So that's why in my mind it's better off rolling critical hit chance on these 3 items than it is using it on your optic, just so you can get that extra critical hit damage and do way more damage. Anyways, getting to the assault rifles, this is once again kind of similar to the SMGs. The talents, what you want to roll is something like Vicious, Responsive, Deadly, Unforgiving, or even Fierce if you can't get Vicious for some reason. But in my mind, right now what I'm using is Vicious, Responsive, and Deadly. I really like this combination. Since I do have a lot of crit chance on my items, like my gloves, my holster, and my mask, the Deadly is actually really useful, and you know, getting that extra critical hit damage is really good. If you have something like Unforgiving in this slot, it's going to be good as well, but like I said, it's really personal preference, and if you want to do a lot of damage for PvP or PvE, using something like this is really good. As for the weapon mods, I'm going to show you guys really quickly what I mod on those assault rifles and pretty much what I use for PvP or PvE. So the first thing is, for the magazine size, I go with a magazine size, critical hit chance, and rate of fire. Once again, critical hit chance and rate of fire is something really good for PvP, especially because you want to do, you know, a lot of damage. You want to melt the enemy really quick, and rate of fire and critical hit chance, in my mind, is the best kind of combination for AAR. For the grip, I am once again using a critical hit damage, reload speed, stability. You know, nothing really changes there. For the muzzle brake, I'm using critical hit damage, headshot damage, and critical hit chance. As always, you just want to spec a lot into critical hit damage and critical hit chance in this patch. Now, if you are on PC, using something like headshot damage right here would be actually really smart as well, because it's a lot easier to aim for the head on PC than it is on consoles. And even on consoles, if you guys want to go and use headshot damage, you know, suppressors and even your scope, you can go and do that. But in my hands, I'm not really the best shot on the game, so that's why I'm using critical hit damage, so I can hit the body really hard. And then lastly, for my scope, as I said, I spec into critical hit damage, headshot damage, and critical hit chance like always. Now, as I said, using something like headshot damage is really smart as well, especially if you're using something like striker build, or using something with a lot of stability, or just playing a lot of cover. Headshot damage would be really smart, and even for PvE, it's something you guys want to think about. But for PvP, I would use critical hit damage if you are on consoles. So yeah, that's pretty much how I mod my weapons in patch 1.8, and if anyone is still kind of lost and has any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. I respond to my comments. The one other thing I do want to show you guys is, for your gloves, there's two things I would recommend 110% speccing into right now. If you're playing PvP, if you're playing PvE, whatever it is, it's one, the weapon damage. If you're using an SMG as your primary, you want to have SMG damage on your gloves. If you're using a, you know, AR damage, you want to have AR damage on your gloves as well. Also, critical hit damage and critical hit chance, the best combination right now. As I said, skill haze isn't really that good anymore, and enemy armor damage is only good for PvE. And lastly, for both the holster and the mask, I would recommend going into critical hit chance. There's no other really option to use. Maybe you can use something like health on your holster if you are a bit too squishy and if you feel like you're dying way too quick. But if you have a lot of health, if you are kind of tanky, having critical hit chance right here and on your mask is the way to go. But anyways, that is it for the video. As I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. I respond to all my comments. But once again, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.